How's it going, Scrub Gamers? It's your boy Scrub Games coming at you with a juicy new piece of content for you to enjoy. But before we do get into the topic of the video, I just want to let you know how you can help support the channel, and that is by checking out Firestorm Games using my affiliate link in the description box below. Because Firestorm Games offer a whole host of products for almost every kind of hobby there is, be it Dragon Ball Super, Pokemon, One Piece, you name it, and they'll likely have it, and at some quality prices too. So just make sure to click the link below and check them out to see the whole host of products they offer while helping support the channel. And also, remember, there's another way to help out the channel, and that's by dropping a like, leaving a comment on the video, and best of all, hitting that subscribe button to keep up to date with my content when it drops. Because I'm still on the road to 1k subs and looking to hit that by the year's end. But now we've got all that sorted, let's dive into the topic of the video.
How's it going then, Scrub Gamers? As you can tell from the topic of the video, it is that time again this week for another previously in DBSCG episode. And I think we're on like episode 80 now, so fair few episodes in. Probably well, it'll be probably not until next year we reach probably the 100th episode. But we're going over again the anniversary box reveals, and we've got majority of them now. I think we're not missing too much. I think we might be missing maybe one more card, or then we at least still got the Z extras for each color. Can't remember if black has one. I think black does have one. I think each color has one. We haven't seen those yet. Might see those tomorrow. We also haven't seen the secret rares, what the reprint is, and what the new secret rare in the box is, and also the 5 reprinted cards as well in the set. 'Cause I think there's 5 just reprinted cards. I don't know if there are ones that are routed or anything like that. Just know there's 5 cards that are reprinted. And we haven't seen what the box looks like, what the boxes look like, because they normally do different arts, or what the sleeves are, anything like that. So we're still waiting on that. But so far, the product looks pretty good. If you don't have a deck that's supported by this, then maybe it's not as interesting, but then maybe the secret rare, the new one in the reprint, might be a bit more enticing. But if you have got a deck that you play and that's supported in this, I imagine all the support is very good. And we're going to go and look at the rest of this. We'll start from yellow, going into black and multicolor as well to see what new cards are revealed today. So remember to drop a comment, hit the like, hit the subscribe button, also drop the video a like. Much is more much appreciated. Helps the channel out greatly, and just lets me know that you're enjoying these kind of things. So let's get kick-started into the reveals. We've got the first one. So another part of yellow, because I think each deck covers at least, apart from red, red covers 4 different decks. Every other color covers mainly like 3. So the second decks we saw last week, it was the Sinshen one was one that got the deck, was the yellow deck that got the Z lead and 2 cards, and for the one that got the Z battle card was yellow Gotenks along with 2 other cards as well. So the yellow Gotenks, you remember that's from set, I think it's set 10. Yeah, set 10. When it's like people didn't, I think not many people actually jumped onto the Gotenks because it seemed like a just not as great as the Broly leader. But then when the Broly leader, that was quite a similar Broly BR one, that was yellow. When that got hit, it be errated like I think twice, to be basically brought down a peg. It then dropped off, and then the Gotenks was around as a replacement. And well, Gotenks is good. Like it is still really really good, but then it was very very good for being generic, but the archetype around it wasn't that great, and then slowly it can become more of archetype focus as when we got Unison Warriors series, so like less generic ones that didn't have like a good archetype to go with it kind of just dropped out, and now it's got a bit more support and is nice because most of the decks that revolve around using fusion, like Union in some way, like Union Patara and Union Fusion, they've got ways to make so you're not negative in hand. Like the Gotenks one, we've seen that where you discard the cards from hand, but you replace, you ditch 2 to then draw 2 and do stuff, and when it leaves, you get those materials back. So like making it so you're not negging your hand, just drop these fusion cards, they come out for cheap, and then drops your hand, and then getting effects like draw and stuff like that. So it kind of replaces so you're not negging from hand. And for this one, when when they first released this deck, it didn't have that. It was your negging from hand, but then you got ways to like use them from different areas, like to get the pieces, and still draw from the fusions, I think. But it didn't have a way to like use use pieces from a different area, like or like actually make it so you're not negging like the other ones do, like the other fusion decks did, or the Patara decks. And they kind of slowly making up for that. They release bit by bit support. I think it's the last anniversary box. This deck got I think it was 8-drop or something like that. And then in the recent set 22, in the premium set, they got another Go Tank support card for support, and now they get more. So they get a Z Battle card in Sun Gohan Rookie Support. They get a fusion material in Sun Goten and Trunks Classic Boy Team Up. Gotta remember that that Classic Boy Team Up. Everyone remembers that Classic Boy Team Up. And then you got the SS3 Go Tanks over 1 power as an Ever Fusion card. So we'll start from left to right, so going over the Z Battle card first. So Gohan is a 1 cost 5k, that requires 1 energy. It's got 2 skills, both limit 1, first one being also. And it is, if your leader is a yellow Gotenks Adolescence card and you discard 1 card from your hand as the cost, you get to, when this card is played, look at the top 7 cards in your deck, add up to 1 Sun Goten GT or Trunks GT card, both yellow and energy cost are 3 or less, shuffle your deck, and then end of the turn, add up to 1 battle card played by this skill to your hand, so you get to play out one of the Goten or Trunks as long as they're yellow and 3 cost or less. 3 cost or less. Flip to your board, and then at the end of the turn, back to your hand. So you don't get to add it to your hand to fuse with. You get on board to kind of do stuff, attack with it, and then get back to the end of your turn. It's not too bad. And then you got the activate main, which is limit 1 if your leader is Yellow Sun Gotenks Adolescent. Well, Gotenks Adolescence, because I forget it's not Sun because it's the fusion. And you have 3 or more energy, and you move this card from the game. So you got to be at least turn 3 with this leader and lose this card. But most Z card skills are use it to lose it. During that turn, the next time you activate the Union skill of a Yellow Gotenks Adolescence card with an energy cost of 7 or less from your deck, reduce the skill by 2 yellow. Now that is pretty solid because we do have a fair few. I think there's only one of the fusion cards that is targeted this, which is the 8-drop from the anniversary box. And everything else, yeah, reducing it down by 2 means that this one we see on the screen. That's normally a 3 cost, but comes down to 1. And I think another one we've have like 2, which potentially go for 3. And that's really good. That's really nice activate main. The only problem is it doesn't really have barriers. You can't just leave it on, like drop it early, leave it on board ready for when you want to do it. So reduce the cost without dropping it from the Z deck in the same turn you want to use the effect. So you can't really keep it around because it will be targeted to get removed. But it's a very good skill, reducing the cost, making like so. At least reducing it by 2 makes it a lot better. You reducing the cost overall, and like if you do this and then do that, the effect, this 6-drop here comes down. You basically paying 2 drop this card down, and get some mirror effects off it as well for Gohan. So that is the Z battle card. That's a pretty good one for this deck. And then we got the Classic Boy team up of Sun Goten and Trunks. This is a 3 cost 15k, 0 cost 5k power. With deflect and 2 activate main skills. First one not being limit 1, but the other one is. So the first one is for 1 yellow if your leader is a yellow Goten Adolescent card, play this card from your hand. You might be thinking, why do you want to play this from your hand? Do you want the materials in your hand for fusion? Well, that's not always the case. And we've got the activate main, which is limit 1 to explain why. And this is add this card to your hand, so you bounce. That's the reason you want it out. So you can bounce it back to your hand. So if you get off the Gohan, you get out on board, swing with it, and then use this activate main to add it back to your hand as a cost. To then add up to 1 card from your hand to your hand. A good way to get a searcher, so you can drop this Gohan early, get this 10 out, swing with it, use it bounce back to your hand, with the activate main, potentially get life as well. So then look at the top 7 cards of your deck, and add any Goten Adolescence back to your hand, so it doesn't matter about the cost, just the character, which is really good, because as we said, there's some that are like 8 costs, 7 costs for the Gotenks fusions, so you can grab any one of those from top 7. The top 7 is a pretty good dig as well. So that's that, and it's also fusion material ready for it if you don't have the Permanence Live, because they've kind of changed this up with this deck, where they've actually trying to make it more and more as they print more support for it, have a kind of gimmick where you don't need the fusion from hand, you can use it in a different area. And we'll explain that as we get into SS3 Gotenks over 1 power. So it's a 6 cost, 25k, double strike, so that's a pretty good spot. 25k double strike is a sweet spot, meaning if your opponent wants out common, you don't put the common power in. They've got to at least use a super combo and a 5k to at least mean that's the minimum they need to kind of get out of it. And then you got the Union Fusion for this is for free yellow. You draw one card and use the yellow Sun Goten GT card and yellow Trunks GT card. And remember, even though cards like Classic Boy Team Up have both characters on, you still need to use two separate ones because that counts as just one of the materials. We used to use two cards for fusion. But then it's got the permanent, which is kind of Bandai trying to put onto this the fusions for this archetype to make it so it's got like a kind of gimmick for using for different areas, like most of the other Union decks do. And this is if your leader is a yellow Gotenks Adolescence card, and you are choosing cards to use this card's Union skill from your hand. You may choose to specify battle cards from your drop, and if you do, place those chosen cards at the bottom of your deck in any order. So you're getting cards back in your deck for using fusion. So that basically means that instead of discarding the two cards from your hand, so one the Goten and Trunks from your hand, one each, you can choose the targets in your drop and put them to the bottom of your deck instead of discarding them from your hand, which is pretty good. So you essentially then drop in this, drawing one from the Unifusion to replace this card in your hand, so you've lost nothing, and put cards back in your deck. So when you're not decking out, and then two, you can grab back the materials as well. And then it's got an auto, which is when this card is played, it chooses up to one of your opponent's battle cards and KO it. Additionally, if a rest mode battle card was KO'd by the skill, this card isn't affected by the skills of your opponent's non-extra cards for the turn, meaning that no unison or battle card skills are gonna affect it at all if you KO'd a rest mode battle card, which is kind of the gimmick for yellow, popping things in rest mode if it is KOing, which is quite cool. So that's the support for this. Pretty good. Very nice support for this deck. I don't know if it's going to improve it like massively, but it's still going to improve it to make it a lot better than it was before, which is what the aim of these things are. So that's that for yellow, and then we'll go to the every yellow deck that's supported. And that was Helku. So the one from all the way back in what feels like set 5? No, not set 5, sorry. Set 15. I keep 5 for some reason, because it has a 5 in it. But yeah, I think set 15 or 14, like one of them. It might have been, I think it might have been 14. I'm thinking, because I think that was more the Cross Spirits one. So set 14, and we got a 6-drop Goku, be an SS Force on Goku, Dragonfish Strategy, and a Trunks Fighting Support. So funny enough, we've got a Trunks GT, two Trunks GTs in there, one for the Gotenks and one for the Helku deck. So we'll go with Goku first, being a 6 cost 20k with 0 cost 5k combo, both of them have combo power. He's got deflecting dual attack, so character plays are going to bounce right off this and not really affect it. And then it can get two 20k swings in. Now it's got the other skills being both auto skills, both for limit 1 and energy cost as well. First one being for 1 yellow. If your leader is yellow and you have 3 or more energy, that's the cost. When this card is revealed from the top of your deck and placed in your drop, draw one card and you may play this card from your drop. So it goes in the whole tandem with the Helku deck of discarding, like revealing and discarding cards off your top of your deck, and then by doing that, triggering skills on them like this one. And this one being you get the draw card and then play it from your drop. Then you got the Ever Auto, which is for as I said, level 1. This one requires 2 yellow energy, and if you have 4 more energy and you place this card from your hand on top of your deck. So a great way to put on top of your deck ready for the first auto, it just does cost 2 yellow energy. And that is when a Son Goku Return of the Dragon Fist is revealed from the top of your deck and placed in your drop. Play that card from your drop, and during that card's first attack during that turn, your opponent can't activate extra card or extra skills for any area, sorry. So that's pretty good. So it means you can put the Return of the Dragon Fist card on top of your deck and use an effect to reveal it to mill it. And then if you do that and mill it, then from the top of your deck, then you get to pay 2 yellow for this to then play it from your drop and make it so the first attack that turn, which is normally going to be from this Return of the Dragon Fist Goku, your opponent can activate extra skills in any area. And the benefit of that is that the card itself, when it attacks, your opponent can't activate any skills on battle cards when it attacks. So that means for the first attack, as soon as you attack with that card, your opponent can't activate any battle card skills for that battle, and can't activate any extra skills for the for the first attack So first attack, your opponent's locked out of using any battle card skills or extra card skills in any area, which is fantastic, which is the majority of it. So they can only really use Unisons and Leader, which is going to be very limited in what they can use to get out of it, especially if you put a big swing on it and then put it up as high as you can to finish off. They're going to have a hard time getting out of that and potentially start to get a game. So then we go to the Trunks, which is Trunks Fighting Support. 4 cost 15k, 0 cost 5k combo. He also has deflect, and he's got 3 skills. So the first one is his auto, which has no energy cost. It's just when this card is played, you may place 1 card from your hand on top of your deck. If you do, play up to 1 Android 18 Defender of Heroes from your hand, well, from your hand with a marker on it. So you get the top deck, like put a card from your hand to the top of your deck to set that up, and then play out from your hand a Android 18. So if you're playing this from your hand, which is so that's taking out 1 card from your hand, you then top deck put a card on top of your deck from your hand. That's a never card from your hand, and then play out a unison, the Android 18 unison from your hand as well. So you're negging yourself by 3 cards from your hand, and not replacing any of it from it, just to have this out and also a unison, which that's quite a few cards from your hand. 3 cards from your hand is not great without any replacement or anything or any strong effects. And he's got 2 activate mains. First one being number 1, also costing 1 yellow, and if your leader is the yellow, so Goku GT card, and you have 2 more energy, you draw 1 card and play this card from your hand. Okay, so there we go. So you kind of mitigate the fact that you're losing 3 cards from hand by drawing from this one as well. So you're playing this card, bot, and the unison out from your hand, and then have to also top deck, put a card to the top of your deck. And you do still get the draw card when you do that. So you draw the card first, then you top deck a card and play out the unison. So it's only really using 2 cards from hand, but still has 2 cards from hand, and for mediocre effects, even though it's setting up the deck. Then the second activate main is once per turn, reveal up to 3 cards from top of your deck and place them in your drop. So that's where it actually. So as you get down through the leader, well, this card, reading the effects, it kind of starts off with not being great, like being quite neg, to then being quite a little bit better, because then you've got the activate main revealing up to 3 cards. I mean, you could choose how many you reveal, being 0, 1, 2, or 3. So you got that option. You could do it one at a time as well. And then if you set up properly, like with the unison and stuff like that, you can set up the perfect 3 cards to mill and then play out, depending on how if you can pay the cost for all the effects to play them out. So that's not too bad. It's still good. It doesn't really improve what the deck's lacking, which is what you kind of want when you get support for the deck to help out with its flaws. The 6-drop Goku is pretty good for like making sure that if you got the Dragonfish, you can mill it to then bring it a little bit cheaper, and also make it so the first attack is kind of harder to deal with. But the Trunks could be pretty good early with the setup, but then I've not played the deck much, but I can't see this being amazing, but I could be proven wrong, as I've never played the deck. But that is it for the yellow support, and we go on to the black support. So, first one we got is Mechikabura support. So Mechikabura gets the support in the form of Z-Lead, and also a battle card, but unlike with most of the other ones, it only gets 2 cards. So we've seen some get 3 cards, some get 2, and it only gets 2, but does get the Z-Lead slot. And the deck, this support is actually really good, because we got the Z-Leader being Dark King Mechikabura, Time Power Revival. It's a Z-Lead that requires 2 Z energy, and its Z-Awaken is for 1 black. When your life is at 3 or less and all of your energy is black, you put on top the specific Dark King Mechikabura and restore to the throne, so it's for a specific leader. So even though I don't think we get many more Mechikabura leaders anytime soon, because I think we've moved on and Mechikabura is not in the next lot of Dragon Ball superheroes that the game is covering for the sagas. But then it's got some really good skills. So now its auto is changed from you can discard a card from your hand. This is cost. When this card attacks, draw 2 cards. So you kind of fit for your deck and drop stuff you want in your drop. And it's got a really nice activate main as well, which is once per turn. Place 1 card from your hand at the bottom of your deck is the cost. So still in keeping with what the leader's been doing on the normal side, on the normal Awakened leader is, but bottom deck and card. You then get to choose up to 1 of your Mechikabura cards with entry cost of 8 and 30k power, which is this new one and the old one, with an entry cost of 8. And switch to active mode, so you restand after this attack, get some more attacks in. Then play up to one battle card with entry cost of 5 or less, with the skills to get from the game from your opponent's warp in your battle area. So that's pretty sick. You bottom deck a card to essentially restand when you 8 drops, so you can get more attacks out of it, more pressure. And also then get this steal something from your opponent's warp. That's 5 cost or less. That's pretty good. Just adding to the stuff on the board. And especially if you're playing the what's it called? The Evil Say and Secret Rare. You're taking stuff from your opponent's warp to then for you to then just warp off and use the effect of that secret rare when your opponent plays like 7 or less during your player's turn. So that's pretty sick. That's a really good secret and also a leader, and also it's 20k base as well. So you're a big chunky boy, then hard like easier to defend yourself. And it's even got I think an extra card that allows you to give it a 5k boost for the turn defensively that you can play for free once a turn. So you can be a very defensive deck. And it's even got a floodgate like Topo as well, which is quite cool. So this deck's looking to be a lot better like it was in this deck. I know people used it for some metas, like you get sometimes like at the moment Shroom Salsa from set 12 is a good one that people have been using to like counter the Go Cheetah deck and stuff like that. As like bringing in certain decks because they counter certain metas, and this is one of those decks where it can be a very good counter to the meta. Then for the 8 drop, we got Dark King Mickey Bird, Demon Realm Invasion, 8 drop, 30k, Circles 5k combo. I don't know if that's different from the other one. If it actually is, if the other one's a one cost 10k combo, but this one's a really nice addition because it's got deflect and dual attack, meaning the 2 swings, and protection from dual deflect. We've had that for quite a bit, so that way, being 8 cost is a free out of the way of Freezer, and deflect means it's out of the way of Trunks. But given that Trunks is banned now and Unisys aren't used much, so much played in most green decks, it's still there, but yeah, that is what it is. But it's got 2 skills. First one is Auto. If your opponent has 4 or more cards in their war, it's very easy to set up with this deck. When this card is played, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards from one barrier and set it to warp, then your opponent sends 1 card from hand to the warp. So that's really strong. So when you drop this, as long as your opponent has 4 or more cards in their warp, you warp anything. You basically choose any of the battle cards in your barrier and warp it, then force your opponent to warp a card from the hand. You're just ripping a card from the hand. That is their choice, but then still you're making them have 1 less card in hand, and ignore removing anything to the warp, ignoring barrier. That's incredible, especially since every deck needs barrier removal, and some decks they do go for the generic stuff, and black doesn't have the best in terms of generic barrier removal. Like you do have the Evil Sand Secret Ready, but you don't want to be using your Secret Salt just as a way to barrier remove. And this one is very nice for the set, giving it a very strong one on a big body as well. Then you got the activate main, which is limit 1 for 2 black. If your leader is black, make a Cabrera only card, and you have 4 more energy, so you have to wait till these turn 4, but you could easily do to be able to block drop this. But then you get the player's card from your hand, then choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, negate his skills for the game, gain control of it, and switch to active mode. So that is amazing. You get to drop this down for 2, just 2 energy for a 30k dual attacker, and then get to choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, negate its skills for the game, gain control of it, and switch to active mode. So you get to the best thing about the fact that it negates the skills, then gains control of it. Meaning that if it's got like if it's something that's got like indestructible, you negate that skill, so you can then snatch it. So that's really good against things with indestructible, or things that are protected from permanent stuff like that. And then switch to active mode as well, so you can then attack with it. If your opponent, you take something from your opponent's board in rest, you get to switch to active mode and attack with it. And yeah, that's just amazing. Remember, you can get this a third attack, making this a triple attack with the leader as well, while also snatching more. Like in the turn, if you have both these 2 together, you're dropping the 8 drop, warp yourself off their board. Hopefully, there's 5 cost less, so you can grab with the lead, and then taking something from the board, getting 2 swings to that, a swing from the thing you took, then use the leader's effect to restand the 8 drop and snap one of the things as 5 costs from their warp. Swing with them again, and then swing with your leader. So that's a good what? 6 swings for well, potentially 2 to 3 energy investment, depending if you have the seed leader already. And that is phenomenal. That's amazing for turn 4. So that is Black Mechabura. That's a pretty good support. And we move on to the next one. This one is some Demigra support. If you're wondering, like, Demigra, what Demigra support? Well, if you remember back in set 4, there was a leader in set 4 for Demigra. And it still saw a bit of play. It's still not too bad, but then we've got better black decks over time. But it has been a deck that's got support. It normally goes alongside with Toa support, so you can get things that support both Toa and Demigra. But it's still about, and Bandai seems to need to support it with more cards rather than actually reboot the leader to bring it up with the times. Like some leaders and some decks that they don't really need support; they need the leader rebooted. or just a Z, like something like with Jito and stuff, like a Z leader to actually go over it, to actually help it. But in this case, you just got two battle cards for support. And while they are pretty decent, they don't do the best to make it viable because the leader is still lackluster. So we've got Demagra, Toki Toki in hand, and then we've got Demon God Poutine and Demon God Gravy, Henchman Strength. So Demagra being a free cost 5k with 0 cost 5k combo, has Dark Overwhelm free, where if your leader is a is a Demagra card, and an auto where when this card is played from your hand, draw one card, then place up to one card from your warp in your drop. So you draw a card, and then you get to put a card from your warp back to your drop, so that way you can do more overwhelms, because with the leader for this deck, when it awakens, it's got Wormhole, which allows it to do Overwhelm and Dark Overwhelm twice a turn, rather than just once a turn like the keywords give. You can do 2 Overwhelms a turn, which is quite, or 2 Dark Overwhelm, or a combination of 1 and 1. So that's not too bad. Places off now when you drop it, that's pretty cool. And it's got Activate Main, which is limit 1. So, and it pays for 2 black energy, which is not going to be tagged, because you get the Dark Overwhelm for free. If you have 3 or more energy and you send this card to your warp as the cost, play up to 1 black Demogorgon card with entry cost of 7 from your hand, drop, or warp. That card gains double strike and barrier for the turn, and you can't play battle cards other than mono black battle cards for the turn. So, 2 energy, as long as you've got 3 more energy, and you warp this card, which is going to be warped at the end of the turn, so you're going to swing with it first and then use its effect. To play the 7 drop black Demograph in your hand, drop, or warp. That we had in set 4 that came along with our leader, and that card gains Barrier and Double Strike just for the turn, not for after. Like, it'd be nice to gain Barrier for longer, but then no, it's just for the turn. It gains Barrier and Double Strike, and then you're restricted to not basically mono black battle cards for the turn, which is not that bad because you're just playing mono black deck anyway. And that's pretty good because when that card comes out, it can grab a it can play a I think it's a black battle card from your warp. Can't remember exactly what it does, but I know it does play out more things, and it's a pretty good black battle card you can get off of it. That card's pretty decent, but once again, the leader needs to be rebooted before it actually be viable, really. Then we've got Poutine and Gravy. So this one is a 4 cost 20k, 0 cost 5k combo. It's got Dark Overwhelm as well, which requires 1 black, but no other effect to it. Then it's got 2 autos, both limit 1. First one is when it's played, you draw 2 cards and discard a card from your hand. That's not too bad, it's pretty good. And then you got the other auto, which is place one of your Z energy in your drop as the cost. When this card attacks, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards with an energy cost of 6 or less and sets in a warp. So that's not too bad. Pretty good cards. It's nice. You can play this off of the demo that Teller deck. One of the old anniversary sport demogras, which is pretty cool. So a nice lineup for that. Outside that, I don't think you'd be playing it unless you get off that really. But when you get off as a target off of that, it's pretty good, getting you netting you a card and also allowing you to swap one of your opponent's cards by dropping off C energy. It's pretty decent. Nice cards. It's a shame that the leader is not helping the leader because the leader basically just needs to reboot, or as you need to go on top of it. But yeah, then we move on to the last of the black decks that got support. So, and that is Shroom Salsa, and I know there's 2 Shroom Salsas, but this is support specifically more for the set 18 one than the set 12. I know the set 12 one's been more popular because it's, as I said, a good counter for the current meta for against certain decks. But the 18 one got support, and it got support in Demon God Shroom Dark Loyalty, Demon God Salsa Dark Loyalty, and the one in the middle, Transcended Shroom and Transcended Salsa strategy for the ultimate form. Even they didn't look really, well, they are kind of transcended, I think. Like, Shroom's changed his outfit a little bit. Salsa looks practically the same. Yeah, I can't really tell the difference, but yeah, they're both transcended. Just one looks transcended, the other one doesn't. And yeah, it's not too bad. Like, they're Shroom is 15k, while the other 2 are 20k. And then yeah, when they're on their own, they're 4 costs, and when they're on the card together, they're 6 costs. All 0 cost 5k combos. So start off with Dark Royalty Shroom. He's got critical and a permanent, where when this card removed from a battle area, it's removed from the game instead. And also where you send one card from your hand to the warp. When this card attacks, you draw a card and choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards and warp it, which is pretty good. That's actually quite nice. And then you got the activate main for 1 black if your leader is a Shroom card or you have 2 or more energy, and you send one of your black Shroom cards to your warp. play this card from your warp. So you gotta have a Shroom already on board and 2 more energy, and be playing the Shroom Salsa leader, and you get to play this from your warp by warping your Shroom card off, which is not too bad. Because then you can have when you have a Shroom, you can still play it from the drop in Activate Battle skill, I believe it is, which is pretty good. So that's not too bad. Then we got the Salsa on its own. This is an overarm card, so giving the deck an overarm card, which is pretty good. Gives it a more themed one. And it's got 2 autos. Last one is limit 1, but the first one isn't, which is if your leader is a black Demon Realm race card, and you send 1 card from your hand to your warp. When this card is played by an overarm skill, draw 1 card and add it to 1 black battle card, and she costs between 3 and 7 from your warp to your hand. So it doesn't get you the big 8 drop, but that's okay, you don't really want to grab that back. You want it in your warp so you can play it back or combo it for free. And you get back some really good cards as like Beyond Limits for Troop Salsa, which is pretty good. And it is nice that it allows you to set up cards in your warp by using it as a cost and then drawing it back by drawing a card. So that's pretty nice. You do technically plus here. No, you don't really plus. You even because you warp a card to then draw a card, and you play this from hand and then adding back a card from your warp to your hand. So yeah, you're kind of going even with this. But the other also being limit 1 is if your leader is a Salsa card. So it's interesting that either character need the same character as them on the leader when both their leaders are both of them together, not separate. So if your leader's Salsa card, which it will be, when this card in your deck is set to your warp or one of your skills, you draw 1 card, then send 1 card from your hand to your warp, and then send the top card of your deck to your warp. That is interesting. So it means that if you do mill it off the top, there are some fills that mill to the warp some cards on top of your deck. You then get to mill further and even net yourself set something from your hand and mill an extra one from your top of your deck, and then also replace the card you warp from your hand with draw as well. That's pretty good. That's a really nice one. Nice little on-theme overarm, giving the deck a Beyond Limits and also being extra support. This one being a really good card for it. Then we've got the 6 drop. So 6 drop, this is an interesting one. It's got an auto when this card attacks, you add up to 2 cards from your life to your hand, so you can take your life if you want to. And then choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, warp it. So it's removal, and also helping you awaken, because I think you need to get down to 2 life for your Z leader. So that's helping you do that. You have more control of it then. Then you've got 2 activate skills. First one will be the activate main, which requires 1 black, and if your leader is a Demon God, Shroom, Salsa, or Demon God Shroom and Demon God Salsa, Deadly Genius. So a specific leader, the set 18 one. Your life is at 3 or less, and you place 3 as the energy in your drop. Place up to 1 Demon God Shroom and Demon God Salsa Imminent Annihilation from your Z deck on top of your leader. So this is nice. This is a way to cheat out your Z and C leader on top of your Z deck without having to go all the way down to 2 and pay energy. You potentially pay an energy off this instead of paying actual energy, but you still got to use free Z energy, but allows you to go into your Z lead when you're at 3 or less life rather than 2 or less life. Because 2 or less life is not great, because then you're within range of double strike. Even though we don't have Champa and Kai anymore, still it's not a place you want to be. And having free life is a little bit more of a benefit then. And you can drop this down for cheap by using the Activate Battle, limit 1. For paying 1 black, if you have 1 or more Shroom and Salsa cards in your combo, play this card from your hand. So, yeah. So you just need 1 or more Shroom and Salsa card in your combo area to place out from your warp, but you can Activate Battle, so that way you can do it your opponent's turn. Knowing your turn, use the Activate main to drop your Z lead, and then swing with this to then, swing with this first if you need to take your life down to 3, and then warp something, and then use the Activate main to drop your Z lead on your lead. That's pretty good. So that is it. That's it for the black ones, for the mono black one anyway. And we're getting another look at some of the other ones that got support in this set. So one of the other multicolored decks that got support was Android 16, getting 2 Android 16 arrival cards, and they are interesting. Personally, when I look at these, I just see some more cards that are pretty good for cube drafting than the actual deck, but then I'm not expert on the deck, so just gonna have a look and see what they do. So we got a 6 cost being Android 16 Determined Moment, and 4 cost being Android 16 a Determined Choice. So one's a Determined Moment, one's a Determined Choice. 6 drop being 25k with 1 cost 10k combo, and the other one being 20k with 1 cost 5k combo. So with the 6 drop, Energy Exhaust critical. Arrival blue green for 2 blue and 1 green. That's quite a hefty cost to arrival in. I think the most expensive one outside the 7 drop, the 7/1 drop. The 7 drop gives you a good bit of value. And you got an auto win this if your leader's under 16 card. So either or, it could be the green one, could be the blue one. When this card is played, draw 2 cards and switch up to one of your energy to active mode at the end of the turn. So these could be pretty good for like the green one. I'm not sure about the either one, the green or the blue one. These could be quite good, especially with the green one getting a draw 2 cards and untap one energy at the end of the turn, dropping this down to put some pressure on. And then you don't activate battle once per turn, place one of your Z energy in your drop, choose one of your cards that gets 5 keep out of the battle. Now that's not that great. You'll sacrifice one of your Z energy, which requires you to use cards from your hand, use cards to combo with, to put in your Z energy, which in the blue one's not too bad, because you can combo 3 once per turn, you turn either player's turn from your drop, but then, so it's not too bad from that. The green one, I can't remember if you can get comboing that easily, but it's not too bad. Like, placing the Z energy is not too bad, but it's not the greatest, because it's like a vital resource to get access to your Z deck. But then having it so you can only choose one of your, it's just any one of your cards to get 5k boost, which is not too bad. Only for the battle, it's pretty shit. It'd be a lot better if it's for the turn. It's a lot better, this card. And then we've got the everyone being the 4 drop. It's got energy source of blocker, and this one arrivals for blue green just for using 1 blue. It'd be interesting if it would probably be better if it was blue or green. Like, it would be nicer if it was when they cost just 1 energy to rival. If they give you the option of either blue or green, like with the team they've done it, might as well chuck out more ones. And this one has a nice little point where if your leader's an under 16 card, you reduce the combo cost in your hand by 1. So that's quite handy for both blue and green, giving that extra combo without being dead in hand. And it's got an activated main skill, which is limit 1. And this also requires you to place one of your Z energy in your drop, so once again losing a vital resource in your Z energy, but you get to choose 1 or 2 options. You either go the blue route, which is choose one of your opponent's battle cards, which costs a 4 or less, and bottom deck it. The blue route, or you go the green route, which is choose one of your opponent's users and remove 2 markers from it. So that's a nice effect that captivates both the blue side of it and the green side of it, because it's a multi-color card with blue or green. But it's not amazing that it's an activate main, because it can get removed on like a counter stuff, because given it has a deflect. And unisons aren't as relevant as they used to be, given how they've just chucked a load of like generic hate in the Black Smoke Dragon for unisons, and yeah, unisons like above 2 are like quite costly unless they can it's got a good archetype around it. And then bottom deck and 4 or less isn't amazing. I think a good majority of 4 or less that you actually want to keep around and protect have barrier, and the other ones they don't really care if they get removed, and because they come down for cheap anyway, they come for the same cost that this card comes out. So sacrificing energy to do these 2 things isn't great, but it's alright support. I think it's better support for the green under 16 than it is the blue one. And yeah, that's basically all I see for this. And then we go into the last set. I got support from this, rounding out the rest of the cards before we go on to Z extras and the secret rare and stuff like that. And that is support for the black multicolored deck being Bardock's Crew. So well, not Bardock's Crew, the Prismatic Bardock deck, because the only Bardock deck that's actually really decent, because it's not focusing around his crew, just around the SS4. So with this one, it gets 4 cards for this, but I thought we'll show off the Z Battle card first, because it gets support in the Z Battle card, being the I think one of the few multicolored Z Battle cards we got, and it gets never 3 cards in battle cards for it, and it gets 1 to cover each color. So the Z Battle card is covering the combination of green and black, and it's a free cost that requires 1 Z energy, 16k as well, like most of the battle cards are in this deck. Deflect to protect it from counter plays, which is really nice. And a nice little permanent where if there are 3 or more non-black colors present among black multicolored cards in your energy, you reduce the energy cost of this card in your Z deck by 1 green. So you can play it for 2 energy, but only need to pay 1 specific black, which is pretty good, and 1 C energy as well. Don't forget that. So that's quite cool. So from turn 3 onwards, as long as you can get the colors different among the cards that are not black in your multicolors, you can draw that quite cheap. And then it's got a nice little auto. When this card is played, choose one of your opponent's battle cards, and she costs a 3 or less, ignoring barrier and KO it. So you get the KO through barrier. It's interesting, it's KO and not warp. You would have thought that maybe that's incorporated in more the green side of it. But yeah, barrier removal for this deck built into the Z deck, but only for 3 or less is quite good. 3 or less, it's a shame, but you take what you're given. And then it's got a really nice activate main, because it's limit 1. If your leader is a Bardock Zeno card and you move this card from the game, so once again, lose it to use it. During that turn, next time you activate main on a Gogeta Zeno card that is mono black for energy cost of 10 or multicolor energy cost of 8 from your hand, you reduce the skill cost by 3. So that's referring to the 10 cost that came out with the actual deck in one of the old anniversary boxes, and the 8 cost that came in set 18, being the red black multicolor 8-drop Gogeta Zeno. So you can reduce that to making you make the 5-drop only cost 2 for the activate main, which is very good. Turning it from a 5 costing 5 to costing 2 is really good. Nice way to reduce the cost. And make the 8 cost, that's essentially your pseudo super combo from it being a free 10k combo with some really good effects. You can now play that out for free off this. So you can drop this, use that effect, and then play that card out without using any energy, which is really solid because that's got a good effect to beam your leader up by giving it 5k boost until the end of your opponent's turn. Warp to like -2 things in your own barrier by 30k, and be a 30 something k double strike pressure, which is really nice. So it's a really good card, really nice support to help with the next big bosses, and yeah, that's really solid support for this. So that's really good. Then we move on to the error free card support for it. So we got one for Bardock, one for Vegeta, and one for Goku, all in the ever free colors that are combined with black. So Bardock once again being in red, Vegeta in blue, and Goku in yellow, and all are the same name, just SS4 the name, Goku, Bardock, Vegeta, and Goku, being prismatic radiances. So they all have the same kind of thing, all 2 cost, all have the same combo cost, one cost 5k, and then all 16k power, and all have energy exhaust. So start with Bardock. So he has barrier like the other one, like the other Bardock that came with the set, and 2 activate mains. First one being a pretty good one to like make use of the actual theme secret rare for this deck, and get more uses out of it to kind of like make better use of the lesser used skill on it. So the effect is if there is a total of 4 non-black colors present amongst black multicolored cards in Unity, and you send 1 SS4 of Vermilion Sands from your hand to your warp, and you place this card in the drop. So essentially, you need to wait till turn. You need to get all 4 different colors in it. So charge a multicolor black red, black blue, black yellow, and black green to your energy to use this. Warp your secret rare warp the specific secret rare from your hand to your warp, and sack this off to your drop as the cost for it. Then you get to activate the activate main skill on the secret rare you sent to your warp. So the activate main skill, you get to play that by it. Then add the secret rare back to your hand at the end of the turn. So you essentially need those 4 different colors in your energy, sack this from your drop, and warp your secret rare from your hand. Trigger the activate main on that secret rare at the end of the turn, grab the secret rare back from your warp to your hand, so you can use it again either defensively or to, if you can get Bardock out again, do that again. So that's a pretty solid effect. Getting both uses of this the extra card on the secret rare is just a shame they can't do that. They haven't done that for the lineage one, or they might do that in future. But that is a really good way to make use of both skills on the secret rare, because it sucks when there's a secret rare that has 2 skills but can only make use of 1, especially given now that cards with ultimate are going to leave the game after they're actually used, which does suck. Then we've got the ever active main, which is limit 1. If your leader is a Bardock Zeno card and you switch this card to rest mode, choose up to one of your battle cards with SS4 in its card name, and battle cards with SS4 in its card name and gains dual attack for the turn. Now that's pretty solid. Imagine giving your 8-drop you played for free, dual attack when it's got 30k double strike, and just put some pressure on with that. Or any of your other cards to put a bit of pressure on that's got like a strike skill, or even that because this has got barriers, so there's a nice little bit of protection from that. Just having that as well is really cool. And remember, you could spam out cards on your board using the secret rare as well, so it's a really solid card for it, like a really solid support. Then we got Vegeta. So he's got a permanent where if there are 2 or less non-black colors present in your black multicolors in your energy, it loses 6k power. So once you get to turn 3, then it would be a full 16k. But it's got a really solid also, and that's limit 1. When this card is played from your hand, you draw a card, then play it to 1 black multicolored battle card with an original energy cost of 2 from your hand. Additionally, if there are 4 or more colors in your energy, add up to 1 of your energy to your hand, and if you do, add 1 card from your hand to your energy. So that's really solid. So when you play it, it's a cantrip. So when you play it from your hand, you draw a card. Then you play a black multicolored battle card, which original energy costs a 2 from your hand. So that's any one of the Saiyans, the 2 costs, which a majority of them are. And then if you got 4 more energy, you get to basically bounce an energy to your hand and put everyone down. So you can kind of give, and it doesn't say come in rest mode, so it comes in active mode. And you get basically bring this down once you get this 4 more, 4 more energy down for technically 1. And also you get to have grab something back. So if you try something, you kind of want it back later, you can get that back, put something back down to kind of make sure you've not charged anything and it's lost forever. And a good card in combination with that skill is this new SS4 Son Goku Prismatic Radiance. He's got a permanent where if your leader is a Bardock Zeno card, reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 1 yellow, so you can bring it down for 1 black. Because it reduces it by the specific cost yellow and also by the cost itself. So you bring it down for with 1 black as early as turn 1, which is really good. Because it's also got a very strong auto, which is when this card is played. Look at up to 5 cards from the top of your deck, and up to 1 card with SS4 and its card into your hand and shuffle your deck. That's going to be a majority of your deck. You're not, if you whiff off this, you just must be really unlucky, but that's a really good thing for consistency. Getting that searching through and make sure you're finding everything you need. If you need to find a certain colour to charge, grab that from among them, add it back. And then it's got a really nice activate main as well. So if you play it down turn 1, get that effect, and have it still there turn 2, you can get this effect off, which is limit 1. If there are 2 or more non-black colours present among black multicolored cards in your energy, and you add this card to your hand, so bounce it back to your hand so you can play it again. You get to play up to 1 black multicolored card when energy costs a energy costs a 3 in rest mode from your hands. So, okay, that's not as great then. You get to actually put out this 2 cost though. I kind of misread that before. It's got to be a specific cost of 3, not 3 or less, just cost of 3, and then you get to play out in rest mode. I can't remember really what the ones 3 costs do. I've never played the deck. I've not played the deck. I'm not really been interested into it. But this deck seems like really good support and be able to play this Goku down, pass back to your hand so you can keep that consistency going, being a 1-cost card to help find the cards you need to make sure you get all those colours. So turn 4 you've got 1 of each colour to get your full benefit of your leader and all these other cards off is really good. And getting those 3 costs out, I think some of them when they're in play you can do effects which are actually useful. So that could be pretty cool. But yeah, this is really solid support. So actually, this is another example of like with the Caller and with the Sin and Mecha Kibura, giving the deck exactly what it needs, some actually strong cards, actually support it, bring it up to new levels, give it more consistency, more power, like basically just bring it into the new format with extra things to make it actually survive and do well. Is exactly what we want for this this kind of product. So that's it for most of the cards. We should be starting seeing the Z extras. We've almost seen all the anniversary box now. We just need the Z extras, the secret rares, the reprint cards, and then the sleeves and boxes stuff. And hopefully we should get the rest of that next week. Hopefully with the 5 cards that get reprinted that aren't the secret rare, they don't do just 1 per day because Bandai's kind of have a tendency to do that. And yeah, then we can start looking at like hopefully the pricing for finals stuff after that. So that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.